Who is the greatest dual threat quarterback of all time, not including Cam Newton?
The greatest dual threat quarterback in my eyes, the guy actually gets overlooked in this title, is Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham, a player who played in the 90s and the early 2000s. Randall Cunningham was kind of an innovator of this, really kind of becoming one of the first guys to really be able to run the ball, get you first downs, move the play, while still being an elite passer. This is a guy that can still throw for close to, 3,000 in the modern day, 4,000 yards, but gave you 3,000 yard seasons, could still get you 20, 30 touchdown throwing seasons, but still get you seasons where you can rush for multiple touchdowns within the game. The only problem with his statistically is that he played in an era where the running quarterback wasn't already as pushed. Obviously, today we understand that quarterbacks are given more of the freedom. So for what he was able to do in his era, being an innovator and really kind of letting guys, he had to run so guys could, he had to walk so guys could run. He had to do what he had to do so guys could do their thing. But in terms of, again, just simply the abilities he had, he could have been strictly a pocket passer. He could have been 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He could have been that guy. But also as an elite runner, he was that guy too. I'm not obviously not the level of Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson, but at his size, being a bigger quarterback and being able to run the way he did, being able to truck over guys, hit them, go through tackles, an elite runner, elite at beating tackles with his body, an elite thrower, an elite passer, good decision maker. Frankly, he could do it all. Randall Cunningham is the guy.
Even though this quarterback I'm about to name is not on the running side of like a Lamar or Vic, he was still a dual threat. So I'm going to rock with Steve Young. Steve Young as a quarterback, especially relative to at his time, I think his 1 year, he had like 7 touchdowns. He was 35-10. And also relative to the era, throwing 70 completion percentage in the time in the 90s. That wasn't really rare. Also, you bring into the fact that him as a player performer was phenomenal. Now, of course, he had a great team around him, but he also started to perform in that instance. Like in the Super Bowl, he has one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time, like 300-something yards. I think he had like 6 TDs against the Chargers, going absolute bonkers. Steve Young, as a quarterback, was one of the most accurate quarterbacks, if not the most accurate quarterback in the 90s. And he can do it on his legs, too. He gave you like 7 touchdowns, 405 of it. It's not like a Vic or Lamar where he giving you almost a K in rushing. But he had the ability to where if he wanted to use his legs, he can use his legs at a timely manner. But Steve Young, to me personally, is the best dual threat quarterback of all time. Again, when you look at his resume, also a 2-time MVP, coming from a bench, having to ride the bench off Joe Montana, and all those years to come to a 2-time MVP. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of like we all remember when he won the Super Bowl, got the monkey off his back because he had so much going with him and so much adversity he had to go through. So I definitely got to rock with Steve Young, bro.
Man, I really like that Steve Young pick, but we're talking about dual threat quarterback. Key words, dual threat, and that can't be anybody else but Lamar Jackson. I mean, Michael Vick stamped him himself, saying Lamar Jackson is the best mobile quarterback in the NFL. And when you're such a weapon that when it comes down to it, in the passing game, you can get it done, but when it comes down to you running with the ball, you can make everybody miss. You can outrun everybody. Lamar Jackson is the full package when it comes down to it. And a lot of people didn't have expectation when it comes to Lamar Jackson. He was a 32nd pick, and then a lot of the teams were going like, he's probably not going to cut it out. He might be a wide receiver. He came in, took the reins, and then immediately became one of those guys. Won the MVP in his second season, won the MVP as of recently. And as a quarterback that didn't have a lot of weapons to use, he didn't have a Jerry Rice to be a consistent weapon. He had people like Mark Andrews. He had people like Rashad Bateman. A lot of these receivers be dropping the balls. A lot of these receivers can't get open in terms of one-on-one coverage. But despite all that, he was consistently being a quarterback that can carry the offense for the Baltimore Ravens. And he did that to some of the best seasons in the NFL. Man, if we're talking about playoff resume, I mean, his playoff resume is compared to Peyton Manning when it comes to consistently going down to the playoffs, making it past the rounds. And unless he's hurt, he's really not having a bad postseason. Lamar Jackson, at the end of the day, is a quarterback that is a elite talent when it comes to rushing the ball.